We do not know for sure how the first people arrived in North America. Some scientists believe the first Americans crossed an ice bridge from Siberia into Alaska. Prehistoric hunters who had followed mammoths and bison some 12,000 years ago and continued moving south following the hunt. We do know that by the time Europeans came to settle here in the 14 to 1600s, there were some 600 tribes living all over the North American continent. Weather and natural resources in each region influenced how a tribe lived. From the canyons in the arid Southwest to the windswept Midwestern plains where buffalo roamed, along the plentiful coastlines and into the woodlands. American Indians lived in harmony with nature.
Our teepees were round, like the nests of birds, and these were always set in a circle, the nation's hoop, a nest of many nests, where the Great Spirits meant for us to hatch our children.
Although each tribe was different, many shared traditions like storytelling, music, and dance. In some tribes, children played house. In others, they played with spirit dolls called kachinas. But life for the original Americans would change forever when Europeans arrived. It was the greatest upheaval they would ever face. Native American tribes had lived in the southeastern parts of the country for thousands of years. As more and more white settlers moved in, they found themselves surrounded by U.S. states who wanted their land. Settlers wanted to build new towns and take over farms and villages where American Indians lived. They believed that Native Americans should leave their homes. President Andrew Jackson agreed. He wanted to expand the U.S. In 1830, he passed a law called the Indian Removal Act. It led to one of the most tragic events in our country's history. Tens of thousands of American Indians were forced from their southeastern homelands into an unsettled area west of the Mississippi called Indian Territory. Hundreds died on the journey of hunger, cold, and exhaustion and sickness. Some tribes, like the Seminoles, fought to stay in the southeast, but they were eventually pushed out too. Within 7 years, all except the Cherokee had been moved west. The Cherokee tribe had challenged the law as unfair, and U.S. courts ruled that they could stay and live according to their own tribal laws and customs. The Cherokee had developed communities with roads, churches, courts, and public schools. Jackson found one Cherokee chief to sign a treaty giving the land over to the U.S. in exchange for a large sum of money. But most of the Cherokee people and leaders did not agree to the treaty. They did not agree to move. Instead, Army troops forced them to. The 800-mile journey was harsh, and the Cherokee were treated cruelly. Without enough to eat, lacking fresh water or proper sanitation, many Cherokee people died of disease. Some were forced into makeshift camps and kept in very poor conditions. More than a year later, those who survived the journey arrived in Indian Territory. About 4,000 Cherokee people died along the way. In the Cherokee language, this is called the Trail Where They Cried. The U.S. government never paid the money promised to the Cherokees. By 1837, the Indian Removal Act had forced 46,000 Native American people westward.